Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. We are going to read Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Canto 4, Chapter 22, verse number. I think it is, let's see. Verse number 4. Four kumaras have come to visit Maharaj Prthu, as predicted by Lord Vishnu before. So the four kumaras have come. So let's see. He is seeing they have come through the skyway, and as they were coming, they were glowing very effulgent. And Prthu Maharaj could recognize them as they came from the sky. So, seeing the four kumaras, Prthu Maharaj was greatly anxious to receive them. Therefore, the king, with all his officers, very hastily got up, as anxiously as a conditioned soul whose senses are immediately attracted by the modes of material nature. So they were very eager to receive four kumaras, just as a conditioned soul is very eager and very happy to gratify his senses. So, in the same way, Maharaj Prthu was very eager to receive the four kumaras. And they are, they are pure devotees of the Lord. They have a parampara. So, they are representing the Supreme Lord. So, it is as good as the Lord coming. Of course, Lord Vishnu departed, and now his representatives have come. Previously in the Yagna, Vishnu came along with Indra, and Indra, apologized and like that. So now the representative Prashrayanata Kandaraha Vidivat Pujayam Chakre Grihitadyarhan Asanan. So this is the difference, because they were not proud. Romaharshan Sutta was proud, right? So he did not get up, he did not show any gesture of respect towards Balramji who had come. So this is the etiquette, that whenever some devotee comes, then one should offer some respect, either by folding one's hands, offering obeisances, full obeisances, or even smiling and offering obeisances, like folding hands and greeting them by saying Hare Krishna. So this is the etiquette that, in receiving Vaishnavas, they say one should feel joy upon seeing a Vaishnava. And it is also, one should offer obeisances to a Vaishnava. These are the two offenses. To not offer obeisances to a Vaishnava means to not show any kind of respect, and also not to feel happy upon seeing a Vaishnava. So these are the two. Of course, there are six like that. Not offer to envy a Vaishnava, to kill a Vaishnava, to become angry at a Vaishnava, to blaspheme a Vaishnava. So they came and they all got up to offer respect. When Romaharshan Sutta did not offer respect, Balaramji picked up a kusha grass and touched him, and he died on the spot. So when the great sages accepted the reception according to the instruction of the Shastras, and finally took their seats offered by the king, influenced by the glories of the sages, immediately bowed down. Thus he worshipped the four kumaras. So he offered obeisances, gave them a seat. So this is also, when you receive a guest in your home, you give them a seat, and then you ask them if they need water, or you offer them water or something like that. So the four kumaras are parampara, spiritual masters of the Vaishnava Sampradaya. Out of the four sampradayas, namely Brahma Sampradaya, Shri Sampradaya, Kumar Sampradaya, and Rudra Sampradaya, the disciplic succession of spiritual master or disciple, known as Kumar Sampradaya, is coming down from the four Kumaras. In this line, Nimbarka Acharya comes. So there are different acharyas for different sampradayas. So Prthu Maharaj was very respectful to the sampradaya acharyas. As it is said by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Shastre. A spiritual master or the Parampara Acharya should be respected exactly like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Vidivat is significant in this verse. This means that Prthu Maharaj also strictly followed the instruction of the Shastra in receiving a spiritual master or Acharya of the transcendental disciplic succession. Whenever Acharya is seen, one should immediately bow down before him. Prthu Maharaj did this properly, therefore, the words used here are Prashrayanata Kandaraha, bowing down his shoulder. Okay. Out of humility, he bowed down before the kumaras. So, those who are humble, they can bow down. Those who are proud, they cannot bow down. Or even if we don't feel humble, we should bow down to practice humility. Like they said, Prabhupada's, they were saying, I don't feel like bowing down. Prabhupada said, no, no, first you bow down, then the feeling will come. So even if we are not feeling like, we bow down. So this is humility is the first item. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, shantiraj. So we are supposed to bow down to the devotees. Or in some way, if we are not bowing down, at least fold our hands, lower our head a little bit and offer respects. So sometimes we don't want to bow down because we don't want other person also to offer. Because as soon as you bow down and offer obeisances, the other person, he may be older, he may not have the means, so he is also now feeling he should also bow down, and he also has to bow down. So to sometimes prevent that, um, then we just offer respects with our folded hands. So out of humility, he bowed down before the kumaras. And also, when we are bowing down, Prabhupada said, we are offering obeisances to the super soul in the heart of that person. Krishna is residing in the heart of everyone. And so we are also offering obeisances to, and also the person, the soul, who is devoted to Krishna. So, both ways we are.
Especially any sannyasi, you should bow down to, right? And Prabhupada said that if you don't bow down, then you should fast for a day,
Mm,
because it's an offense.
mm. Yeah, in the offense to Vaishnava is it says Vaishnavas, right? Not to offer obeisances to a Vaishnava is one offense. So the
There are
Vaishnava,
different types of obeisances, right?
yeah. So in the Nectar of Instruction, it is said that one should mentally honor the
Mm.
Vaishnava who is like chanting the holy name, one who has undergone initiation and is engaged in worshipping the Lord should be offered obeisances, and one should serve the person who is. The other thing is also it is always good to take humble position because we don't know who is at what level, and they, yeah, so it's always good to offer respects and take a humble position.
Time or something.
Yeah, or others I've seen they always like offer obeisances. Like some, it depends on, like, of course in our, sometimes they will just embrace each other and hug each other. Of course, male people will do with male devotees and female. But yeah, some I've seen some in my uh, experience with devotees in Krishna consciousness. There are devotees, some devotees will just bow down. Of course, they, if you see them multiple repeated times during the day, at least first time you see them during the day, you bow down. Then you may again see them. So there are some devotees who do like that, and we have Raghunath Das Goswami, who used to offer 2,000 obeisances to Vaishnavas, right, every day. So, and he would offer 1,000 obeisances to the deities, to the, yeah, Supreme Lord, and more to the Vaishnavas. But we can at least show some, we can fold our hands or show some respect, or at least smile at them and say, greet them with Hare Krishna, like that. So that's like expressing some pleasure on seeing a Vaishnava.
Certainly, when you see your spiritual master, every time you see him, you should bow down. There was one devotee who saw his Guru Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur right on the going in the car, and it was very muddy
Hmm.
and rainy, and he bowed down, and his whole cloth became filled with mud. Bhaktisiddhanta was very happy. So, whenever you see a spiritual master, you should immediately bow down.
And also
But
some
of course,
senior devotees, if you see, like if you see god brothers of your spiritual master,
hmm,
because they are also to be offered, according to Vaishnava etiquette, they are to be offered the same respect
hmm,
as your spiritual
hmm.
master.
But
So,
of course, there's an inner meaning to bowing down, right? You can externally
yeah.
bow down, but
Hmm.
you want to take a humble position. I'm surrendering to your, words and follow your instructions.
Yeah. Like they said, Namaha means not me. You are more elevated than me. I will accept your instructions, not me what I think. So I surrender to you. Namaha. Yes, that's there. Correct. So while bowing down, we should be in that consciousness also. And sometimes, even if we are not in that consciousness, Prabhupada says you first bow down, then feeling will come. But we have to remember all that what it means to bow down. So that I'm taking humble position. And the devotee does not demand respect, right? He should not feel that, oh, everybody should bow down to me. But they command respect. So that is also there. If there is some, of course, Prabhupada and spiritual master will train his disciples that you should do like this. So, but they pass the respect to their spiritual master and to their spiritual master, and through the parampara it goes to Krishna. If you hold the respect somebody is giving you, then you'll become proud. But the great devotees, they pass the respect on to the parampara and like that. So that's why the devotees are considered transparent via media. So transparent means transparent glass allows light to pass through. So we should not be opaque. We should be transparent. And whatever somebody is speaking, we are only speaking Krishna's words or the Acharya's words, because that is what we are supposed to speak, right? Otherwise, if we speak our own philosophy, and so what is there to be proud? If we are speaking or we are doing something, it is all the instructions of the acharyas. They are guiding us, Rupa Goswami and everybody. So, of course, the credit is that for that devotee is that he has accepted the instructions of his guru, like that. So that is the credit of that devotee. So we glorify Arjun because he surrendered to Krishna. So Arjun is very glorious because he surrendered to Krishna. Krishna's will. Okay, so Tatpada Saucha Shalilair Marji Talaka Bandhanaha Tatra Shilavatam Vrittam Acharan Manayan Iva. After this, the king took the water which had washed the lotus feet of the kumaras and sprinkled it over his hair. So he washed the feet of the four kumaras and sprinkled that water over his hair. By such respectful actions, the king, as an exemplary personality, showed how to receive a spiritually advanced personality. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Apani Achari Prabhu Jivera Shikhai. It is very well known that whatever Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught in his life as Acharya, he himself practiced. So Acharya means three things. What are the three things? One who has realized the conclusion of the scriptures. Second, one who
Whoever, one who teaches those conclusions.
teaches and one who practices. So he has realized he is practicing himself and he's preaching. So that is showing by example. So, example is better than precept, we say. He himself practiced. So, whatever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught in his life is when he was preaching as a devotee, although he was detected by several great personalities to be the incarnation of Krishna, he never agreed to be addressed as an incarnation, except for some time, Mahaprakash Leela. He always wanted to be known as a devotee. And why did he do that? He knew in Kali Yuga many people will come and they will say they are God. So he was God himself, but he came in the role of a devotee, and that would interfere. If he came in the mood of God, then it would interfere with his internal reason of coming. He came as a devotee, like in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So Radharani is in that's Gopi Bhav. So Lakshmi was not allowed to enter into the Ras Leela because she maintained the Aishwarya Bhav, that she is the queen of Vaikuntha. So to enter into Ras Leela, you have to be in Gopi Bhav. So they say like that. This came up in conversation between Venkata Bhatta and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So even though one may be an incarnation of Krishna or especially empowered by him, he should not advertise that he's an incarnation. People will automatically accept the real truth in due course of time. So the devotee is not bragging about himself. And, but people will realize in due course of time that this is a great personality. Madhvendra Puri wanted to run away from name and fame. But Krishna wants to make his devotees famous. So when he went to Jagannath Puri, everybody knew that this is the person for whom Gopinath stole a pot of sweet rice. So Prthu Maharaj and like Prabhupada also, he was an unknown name in the Gaudiya Math also and Bhaktivedanta Swami. I mean, he was one of those devotees. Some people knew him, but because of his sacrifice and surrender, his painstakingly trying to spread Krishna consciousness, or was recognized by Krishna, and then his fame spread everywhere. So Prthu Maharaj was the ideal Vaishnava king. Therefore, he taught others by his personal behavior how to receive and respect saintly persons like the kumaras. When a saintly person comes to one's home, it is the Vedic custom first to wash his feet with water and then sprinkle this water over the heads of oneself and one's family. Prthu Maharaj did this, for he was an exemplary teacher of the people in general.
Krishna also shows
Correct.
Sudama comes or other Brahmanas come. Yadi Yadachariti Shrishtas Tattva.
He was washing also like Rajasuyagna, right? And Sudama also, Rajasuyagna also.
Also, Prabhuji, in Bhagavad Gita, also Krishna, chapter 3, verse number 20 and 21, like King Janaka and all also attain perfection by like performing their duties and showing to the people the right way to do it. And verse number 21, whatever great man does, common man also follows. So it is always by action speaks louder than words. So
Got it. Yeah, so
Also, when the messenger came for carrying Rukmani's letter,
oh,
uh, Krishna does the same. He sits him on his throne, washes his feet, gives him arti.
yeah, correct. Okay, thank you everyone for Hatak Hatakasana Asinan Swadhishneshva Iva Pavakan Shraddha Sanyama Sanyuktaha Pritaha Praha Bhavagrajan. So that is why also we say Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Mani Namanadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. So not expecting respect, giving respect to others. The four great sages were elder to Lord Shiva, and when they were seated on the golden throne, they appeared just like fire blazing on an altar. So they were born before Lord Shiva. So they were elder to Lord Shiva, because then Brahma got angry because they were asked to enter Grihastha ashram and procreate, and they refused. And then Brahma got angry, and from his anger, Lord Shiva was born. Rudra. Of course, that's the Rudra in this material world. There is Sadashiva in the spiritual world also. The four great sages were elder to Lord Shiva, and when they were seated on the golden throne, they appeared just like fire blazing on an altar. So they were very effulgent. That's why when they were sitting on the throne, they looked like fire. It was a golden throne, and they were looking like fire blazing on an altar. Maharaj Prthu, out of his great gentleness and respect for them, began to speak with great restraint as follows. So Maharaj Prthu addressed them with great respect and with great restraint he began to speak. We'll see what he spoke. The kumaras are described herein as the elder brothers of Lord Shiva. When the kumaras were born out of the body of Lord Brahma, they were requested to get married and increase the population. In the beginning of the creation, there was a great need of population. Therefore, Lord Brahma was creating one son after another and ordering them to increase. However, when the kumaras were requested to do so, they declined. They wanted to remain brahmachari throughout life and be engaged fully in the devotional service of the Lord. The kumaras are called Naishtika brahmachari, meaning they are never to marry. Because of their refusal to marry, Lord Brahma became so angry that his eyes became reddish. From between his eyes, Lord Shiva or Rudra appeared. The mode of anger is consequently known as Rudra. Lord Shiva also has a Sampradaya party known as Rudra Sampradaya, and they are also known as Vaishnavas. So they didn't want to get married. They thought we will just dedicate our life. And they remained by their mystic power, they remained young people, so young children, so that they would not have any sexual desire. Like a child doesn't have sexual desire. Only when one grows up, then that desire develops. So they, by their mystic abilities, they remain like 5-year-olds or something like that. And they were they refused Lord Brahma, and then Brahma got angry. Okay. So, yeah, in the Bhagavatam it is said that the material life begins when there is attraction between male and female, and then the heart in the knot in the heart becomes tight, and one gets attached to one's house, one's children, one's relatives, one's wealth, and Griha Kshetra, one's job and other things. Griha Kshetra, Sutta Apta Vitter. And one thinks in terms of I and mine. But devotees, they think in terms of Krishna and Krishnas. So even in those who are in the Grihastha ashram. But generally speaking, those who are not Krishna conscious, they think in terms of I and mine, and they become attached. The Hridaya Granthi, the not, nothing belongs to us. We came empty handed, nobody is related to us. Of course, everybody is Krishna's child, Krishna's part and parcel. So, but instead of doing that, then one becomes attached and thinks in terms of I and mine. And then that's the beginning of material life. So, of course, we say it is my house, but the devotee knows that, yeah, he has signed the paper and he has gotten the house, but ultimately he is not going to live in the house forever. The house may even outlive the person. So many houses are standing, their owners are dead and gone. Like our 379 West 8th Avenue, it's 100-year-old house, right? So the original owner is died already, but the house is still standing. So nothing belongs to us. Not in the body also, our body also doesn't belong to us. So everything belongs to Krishna. As Sanatana Goswami was told by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, your body belongs to me, how can you destroy somebody else's property? So body belongs to Krishna, so instead of using for our own enjoyment, it is meant to be used for Krishna's enjoyment. But because the body has biological needs and urges like that, so there is a Krishna conscious way in which those urges can be fulfilled. Dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi paratarshava, to bring forth Krishna conscious children. and to make them devotees of the Lord. So, like that. Okay. So, so we should feel that our body belongs to Krishna, and Krishna only gave me this body, right? Of course, because of my desire to enjoy material. So, but He is the all the elements, earth, water, fire, ether, of which the body is made are Krishna's energy, and the soul also belongs to Krishna. So when you take sannyas, then you take body, mind, words, and the soul. Body, mind, words are all related to this material body, and the soul. All three dandi sannyas, and then the fourth, the small hook, which is the soul. Also, everything belongs to Krishna. So I will fully engage in Krishna's service with whatever I have. So that is sannyas. Okay. Any comments? Okay, so next words. Prithurvacha aho acharitam kimme mangalam mangalayanaha yasya vo darshanam hi asid durdarshanam cha yogivi. And it is very evident, like, when I pushed my mother's body into the furnace, that body was burnt, but she still lived. She still lived. The soul moved on. So we see the body ultimately is not ours. We have to quit the body. So on the basis of this understanding that I am not this body and this body does not, then we can practice spiritual life very nicely. I am the soul. If this understanding becomes deep as a realization, then we can work for the benefit of the soul. So the real I. So the big illusion in this whole material existence is I am this body and everything belonging to this body is mine. Janasya mohayam aham mameti. So as Krishna is speaking so many verses in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita about this. So we can't take our body also, but I will live on. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. When this body is destroyed, I will still live, but I'll have to quit this body. So, okay, so that's King Prthu spoke. My dear great sages, auspiciousness personified. It is very difficult. My dear great sages, auspiciousness personified. It is very difficult for even the mystic yogis to see you. So you have given us darshan. It is very durlabh, your darshan. Even the mystic yogis find it difficult to see you. Indeed, you are very rarely seen. I do not know what kind of pious activity I performed for you to grace me by appearing before me without difficulty. So he says, I am very fortunate that I am able to see you. So when something uncommon happens in one's progressive spiritual life, it should be understood to be incurred by agyata sukruti or pious activities beyond one's knowledge. So to meet a devotee is a very auspicious thing. Right? So to see personally the Supreme Personality of Godhead or His pure devotee is not an ordinary incident. When such things happen, they should be understood to be caused by previous pious activity as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7:28. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam. So some pious activities, something we may have done now, it is bearing fruit. So one who is completely freed from all the resultant actions of sinful activities and who is absorbed only in pious activities can engage in devotional service. So everybody comes in this world with papa, right? So how can we engage? But by engaging in devotional service also, we become free from papa. And then our determination to increase in devotional service increases. So one who is completely freed from all resultant actions of sinful activities and is absorbed only in pious activities can engage in devotional service. That's why we have the four regulatory principles, because by engaging in those principles, then our determination to engage in devotional service will become less. Although Maharaj Prithu's life was full of pious activities, because they drag down us to the bodily conception of life. This four regular intoxication, meat eating, illicit sex, and also gambling, all it drags us down to the bodily conception of life. We are supposed to get out of this bodily conception of life. So, so we don't do activities which will reinforce the bodily conception of life. We want to slacken the bodily conception of life. We don't want to reinforce the bodily conception. So, and we see everybody as spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. Although Maharaj Prithu's life was full of pious activities. Of course, it's easier said than done, but you have to practice. Although Maharaj Prithu's life was full of pious activities, was wondering how his audience with the kumaras happened. He could not imagine what kind of pious activities he had performed. This is a sign of humility on the part of King Prthu. So the devotees feel that I didn't deserve it, but somehow I got it. This is Krishna's mercy. So, whose life was full of pious, so full of pious activities that even Lord Vishnu came to see him. So, although King Prthu was very qualified, is he being Shaktavesha Avatar, but they always feel like that. This is a common feature in the consciousness of all the great souls. They feel like that. They're very qualified.
And he also desired it. He prayed to it, to Lord Vishnu.
Correct.
Let me hear from the mouth of your pure devotees. I want millions of ears. And
Yeah.
so whatever we desire in our heart, Krishna predicted.
Yeah. Everything is like that's a very important point. Everything is based on desire. So we have to change our desires, and that desires change by associating with those who have spiritual desires like that, by reading Srila Prabhupada's books, and then yeah. So everything is based on desire, and desire is something that is not controlled by Krishna. It is the jiva's own free will to desire. And of course, Krishna gives desires when we engage in His service. He gives us buddhi and everything. But we came to material world by our own sweet will, and we'll go out of this material world by our desiring to get out. As Prabhupada says, mostly people don't desire to get out of this material world. So then Krishna is trying to push us by giving us difficulties and things like that. Then we come to the conclusion, oh, this is not the place for me. This is a horrible place. I'm just struggling here and I've struggled. Then we come to know from Shastra that not only this life I'm struggling, I've struggled like this for many, many lifetimes. I've forgotten all this struggle. So, yeah, it's not the first time I'm struggling. I've struggled like this in the past also. So I want to end this struggle and turn to Krishna. So this is a sign of humility on the part of King Prthu, whose life was so full of pious activities that even Lord Vishnu came to see him and predicted that kumaras would also come. Yeah, so Vishnu had already told him. Okay, so
Also, some devotees were saying to Prabhupada, right, we must have done all kinds of auspicious activities in the past, sacrifices, to be able to get your association and chant the holy name. And Prabhupada says, no, you had no qualification. I made your qualification. So devotees are very compassionate and they go door to door and to meet all people who are fallen, who have no sukriti, but to give them sukriti.
correct. Okay, yeah. So when we go out, distribute books, something like that, that is creating some good fortune for them if they give some money for the book, or they touch the book, or they hear Krishna's message, maybe by that contact, and we following up afterwards. Maybe somebody will come.
Asking them to chant once Hare Krishna mantra or telling them something what Bhagavad Gita says, in a few minutes.
Correct. Give them some cookie. Actually, we should take cookie prasadam also. So all the different ways to give spiritual benefit. Yeah. Sometimes people will say, no, I cannot chant. Then okay, give them cookie. They may take a cookie. Or sometimes they may take a cookie and chant also. So they're getting more benefit. And then you put the book in their hands. So they're touching the book also. And then they give some donation. So every way, like more and more. So kim tasya durlabhataram ihaloke paratracha yasya vipra prasidanti shiva vishnusya sanuga. So also if everybody is a devotee, then there is no need to preach. Because so preaching is there because there is, people are not devotees, so we have to share the knowledge. Preaching or sharing, you can however you want to call it. So you have to share this knowledge. And any person upon whom the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are pleased. And another thing I was thinking that preaching has to be done in a detached way also. We can pray to the, like they say when you give the book, you can pray to Nityanand Prabhu who is in the heart to inspire that person to buy the book. Like that. So and then it's between them and Krishna and whether they want to take the book and not. And we should not become angry also if somebody doesn't take the book because we want to leave them with a positive impression. So we say Hare Krishna, have a nice day. Sometimes, of course, we do say like we are convincing them to buy. Marketing, it's marketing of Krishna. So marketing people, they will come and they'll tell the product, how good is their product, and they really need it. That's how advertising is. That you really need this. So you really need Krishna. Then you can point out what are the problems in this material existence and why we need Krishna. Any person upon whom the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are pleased can achieve anything which is very rare to obtain in this world as well as after death. So if Krishna, mercy of which Vaishnavas are there, then we can get what is something very rare, which is Krishna Prem. Not only that, which is one characteristic of Krishna Prem, it's Sudurlabha. So, but if the Vaishnavas are pleased, one can achieve anything which is very rare to obtain in this world as well as after death. Not only that, but also one receives the favor of the auspicious Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu who accompanied the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. So he is glorifying kumaras, that your association. We can receive the auspicious favor of Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu also. The Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are the bearers of Lord Vishnu, the all auspicious, as confirmed in Brahma Samhita 538. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadeva hrideshu vilokayanti yam sham sundaram achintya gunaswarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. The devotees out of their extreme love for Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, always carry the Lord within their hearts. So you can take a devotee out of Vrindavan, but you can't take Vrindavan out of devotee because he is carrying the Lord in the heart. So that is why Prabhupada, they are walking places of pilgrimage. The devotees, Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani. The Lord is already in the heart of everyone. But the Vaishnavas and the Brahmanas actually perceive and see him in ecstasy, always see him in ecstasy. So when devotee comes to our home, it is like a place of pilgrimage is coming to our home. So in everybody's heart Krishna is there, but the Vaishnavas perceive it. So that is all. So Krishna consciousness means to perceive the mercy of Krishna. Mercy of Krishna is there on everybody, but in conditioned state we cannot perceive the mercy of Krishna. So becoming devotee means to perceive, to recognize the mercy of Krishna. Then what we take for granted, then we start thinking, no, this is mercy, this is Krishna's kindness upon me. He has created this facility to fulfill my desire, even material desires. Krishna is created the facility. He's given me a material body and the senses, and He's created all needs. He's so liberal. He's so kind, so liberal that even though we turned away from Him, He's still maintaining us. He's still not given up on us. That is the, like Srila Prabhupada said, the mercy of Lord Nityananda has no limits. So even though we like denied the Lord life after life, but still Krishna has not given up on us. And He's still ever willing, ever working, ever waiting, like that we say, to bring us back home. So normally when we are angry with somebody, we don't want to do any service to them. We don't want to benefit them in any way. We just ignore. But Krishna, even though we ignored Krishna and denied and become envious of him, but Krishna is so kind and liberal that he's still giving us all the facilities. So that is the kindness of Krishna. Therefore, Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are carriers of Vishnu. Wherever they go, Lord Vishnu, like we see that, and also because that's the quality of Krishna, that pure devotees also inherit the same quality. Those who are beating Haridas Thakur, he's saying, please forgive them. They're beating him to death and physical violence to the extreme. But still, he's like Prahlad Maharaj also tortured so many ways. But so this is the great quality of the Vaishnavas. Wherever they go, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, or the devotees of Lord Vishnu are all carried. Even Arjuna, after going through so much tribulation and everything, he said, I don't want to fight. They are greedy, let them have the kingdom. Prabhupada says this soft-heartedness is the characteristic of a devotee. So, so he said, okay, I don't. He only changed his mind because Krishna wanted him to fight. Otherwise, on his own, he was not. Was saying, let them have the kingdom. Why should I do all this violence? Of course, it was not right because of, and Bhagavad Gita, it was paving the way for Bhagavad Gita to be spoken. The four kumaras are Brahmanas and they visited the place of Maharaj Prthu. Naturally, Lord Vishnu and his devotees were also present. So they were also there because they carry the Lord within their hearts. That's how. Under the circumstances, the conclusion is that when Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are pleased with a person, Lord Vishnu is also pleased. This is confirmed by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his 8 stanzas on the spiritual master. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado. And we know that Dravida Prabhu said there is Yasya prasadat nagati kutopi. This A is a long A. So Yasya means by whose mercy we receive Krishna's mercy. Bhagavat Prasad. Prasad is, of course, the food we eat is also mercy. Prasad means mercy. So by whose mercy we receive Krishna's mercy. And by not receiving the mercy, Yasya Prasadan. So Yasya and Aprasadan becomes a long A. Yasya Prasadan Nagati Kutopi. Then we don't receive the grace of, by not getting the grace of the devotees, then we don't receive the grace of the Lord. By pleasing the spiritual master is okay. If the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased, then one has nothing more to achieve either in this world or after death. Then you don't need any degrees to achieve. There is nothing to be achieved. If Krishna is pleased, the devotees are pleased, then there is nothing more to do. There is nothing more to achieve in this world. Since you don't need to get a PhD degree or get a lot of money. If Krishna is pleased, your life is already success. So that is there, right? Manyate nadikam. Manyate nadikam tata. Yam labdva chaparam labham. Yeah. Yeah. So if you have that thing in your heart that If Krishna is satisfied, my life is successful, and I am working to satisfy Krishna and the devotees, then my life is success. Then you'll become free from all material desires. Because that is most important thing in your life, that to please the devotees and to please Krishna. If that is the goal of your life, then you don't consider anything else. And you can please devotees, like Prabhupada says, right? If you want to repay your debt to the spiritual master, then you should preach vigorously like me. So he said, yeah. And of course, of all the regulatory principles, the spiritual master's order to chant 16 rounds is the most essential. So we chant, we follow his instructions, and then share this knowledge with others. Chant 16 rounds, follow four regulatory principles, and give this knowledge to others. So that is very pleasing. Very simple things, right? We don't have to do big, big things like stand in water, cold water, or not even like do any austerity except on Ekadashi. We have to eat non-grain prasadam. Or, yeah, or maybe some of you fast like that. But so it's just very easy to please Krishna. Just offer patram pushpam phalam toyam. And, but of course, Prabhupada did say that his spiritual master didn't want a flower and fruit festival. That was not his mood. His mood was to save the conditioned souls. So we say bringing a conditioned soul to the lotus feet of Krishna is the best offering to Krishna. Of course, flower is also a soul only. So the flower also gets benefit.
दयाया सर्वभूतेषु
Santushti.
तुष्टेन सर्वेन्द्रिय प्रशंसा तुष्यते आशुना. We can satisfy him, showing compassion.
Yeah, nice verse. And we have to control our senses. But that control only is possible when we engage them in Krishna's service. Otherwise, we have seen so many examples in our scriptures. It is not possible to control the senses without engaging in Krishna's service.
Mhm. And being satisfied with whatever Krishna has given us.
All right. Yeah, because we are not going to take anything with us. So if I have enough, some money, some little thing to eat, it is Krishna's mercy. So it should not be too much hankering for.
Yeah. Yeah,
If
the
that is,
highest thing is if we have some service
uh,
for Krishna where we are absorbed in serving Krishna, chanting his holy name. That's it. We don't need anything else.
yeah, chanting is one of the very best, good, important service which we can do very easily. You just sit down and so we should chant Hare Krishna as much as possible and hear the sound vibration, as Prabhupada says like that, and from our heart. So whatever we remember, whatever we have heard about chanting, when we are chanting, we should remember those things. As Bhurijan Prabhu says, chant one mantra very nicely. So we say, okay, now let me chant this mantra very nicely. With all my heart, let this one mantra I should chant. As if my life, success of my, Bhakti Prthu Maharaja says, right, that you deal with everybody as if the success of your life depends on your interaction with that person. So this Maha Mantra, this one, actually one mantra only, one Krishna's name is enough to liberate and give you pure love of God. So let me chant this one mantra. Then, okay, then again, next time you make a resolve. So we have to implement whatever we have heard in our classes and from other devotees and whatever we have read in Srila Prabhupada's books and like that. So we have to implement that, we have to put it into, then that becomes very joyful. So, and we have to remind those instructions again and again. So at every step, we should implement and whatever we have heard with every mantra like that. So, like we are told to always think of Krishna. So, we should always think of Krishna like some service to do for him, something. Yeah. to propagate Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada was always thinking about that. Okay, so we will read this one purport and stop. Although you are traveling, Prthu Maharaj continued, although you are traveling in all planetary systems, people cannot know you, just as they cannot know the super soul, although it is within everyone's heart as the witness of everything. So devotees are not recognized. Even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva cannot understand the super soul. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, Muyanti Yat Suraya. Sura means demigods, and Muyanti means bewildered. Great demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, Indra and Chandra are sometimes bewildered trying to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shiva was bewildered, Brahma. We have examples of everywhere. Indra was bewildered. It so happened that when Krishna was present on this planet, Lord Brahma and King Indra also mistook him. Brahma Vimohan Leela and then Govardhan Leela. And what to speak of great yogis, and also when Parijat, this thing. And what to speak of great yogis or jnanis who conclude that the absolute truth, the personality of God, is impersonal. In the same way, great personalities and Vaishnavas, like the four kumaras, are also invisible to ordinary persons, although they are traveling all over the universe in different planetary systems. Sometimes devotees appear like ordinary people, and it is very difficult to recognize great devotees. I was thinking about the Sanatana Goswami. When Sanatana Goswami went to see Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he could not be recognized by Chandrasekhar Acharya. Yeah, he came after traveling everywhere, and then he was sitting he had a beard and he was sitting outside the house. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, there's a devotee outside sitting, bring him in. And Chandrasekhar Acharya went and then he looked, said, there is nobody but a Muslim mendicant who's sitting. Then, because he was all in shabby, he was dirty like that, he was traveled, he has escaped, and he had come to see Lord Chaitanya. So, but Lord Chaitanya recognized, even Dukhi, right? Dukhi was simply a maid servant, an ordinary, this thing, lady, but Krishna recognizes, right? So,
Jad Bharat also.
Jada,
Not recognized.
yeah, very
Avadut Brahman.
Avadut Brahman, yeah, nice examples. So we say it takes one to know one also. So the conclusion is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in everyone's heart, and his pure devotees, the Vaishnavas, are also traveling all over the world. But those who are under the modes of material nature cannot understand the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of this cosmic manifestation, or the Vaishnavas. It is said, therefore, that one cannot see the Supreme Personality of a Godhead or a Vaishnava with this material eyes. So we should hear, not see. One has to purify his senses and engage in the service of the Lord. Then gradually one can realize who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and who is a Vaishnava. Okay. Sevan Mukhe Jivados. Okay, we'll read Krishna book. Is this Nida on the right place? Pondrak. He didn't save the bookmark. Okay, Pondrak. When Lord Krishna. We can read somewhere, whatever it is. Maybe soldiers on King's side of King Pondrak. Read from here.
Yeah. Okay. The soldiers on the side of King Pondrak began to shower their weapons upon Krishna. The weapons, including various kinds of tridents, clubs, poles, lances, swords, daggers, and arrows, came flying in waves, and Krishna counteracted them. He smashed not only the weapons but also the soldiers and assistants of Pondrak. Just as during the dissolution of the universe the fire of devastation burns everything to ashes, The elephants, chariots, horses, and infantry belonging to the opposite party were scattered by the weapons of Krishna. Indeed, the whole battlefield became strewn with smashed chariots and the bodies of men and animals. There were fallen horses, elephants, men, asses, and camels. Although the devastated battlefield appeared like the dancing place of Lord Shiva at the time of dissolution of the world, the warriors on the side of Krishna were very much encouraged by seeing this, and they fought with greater strength. At this time, Lord Krishna told Pandrak, Pandrak, you requested me to give up the symbols of Lord Vishnu, specifically my disc. Now I will give it up to you. Be careful. You falsely declare yourself Vasudev, imitating me. Therefore, no one is a greater fool than you. From this statement of Krishna's, it is clear that any rascal who advertises himself as God is the greatest fool in human society. Krishna continued, now Pandrak, I shall force you to give up this false representation. You wanted me to surrender unto you? Now this is your opportunity. We shall now fight, and if I am defeated and you are victorious, I shall certainly surrender unto you. In this way, after chastising Pandrak very severely, Krishna smashed Pandrak's chariot to pieces by shooting an arrow. Then, with the help of his disc, he separated Pandrak's head from his body, just as Indra shaves off the peaks of mountains by striking them with his thunderbolt. Similarly, Krishna also killed the king of Kashi with his arrows. Lord Krishna specifically arranged to throw the head of the king of Kashi into the city of Kashi itself so that his relatives and family members could see it. Krishna did this just as a hurricane carries a lotus petal here and there. Lord Krishna killed Pandrak and his friend Kashi Raja on the battlefields, and then he returned to his capital city of Dwarka. When Lord Krishna returned to the city of Dwarka, all the Siddhas from the heavenly planets were singing his glories. As far as Pandrak was concerned, somehow or other, he always thought of Lord Vasudev by falsely dressing himself in imitation of the Lord. Therefore, Pandrak achieved Sarupya, one of the 5 kinds of liberation, and was thus promoted to the Vaikuntha planets where the devotees have the same bodily features as Vishnu, with 4 hands holding the 4 symbols. Actually, his meditation was concentrated on the Vishnu form, but because he thought himself Lord Vishnu, it was offensive. By his being killed by Krishna, however, that offense was mitigated. Thus, he was given Sarupya liberation and he attained the same form as the Lord. So, Krishna is so merciful. Anyone who thinks of Krishna in any of the lust, anger, or envy, or here, trying to imitate him, he's thinking of the 400 form Vishnu. So, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, so whatever we think of, we attain the next life. So, he's also killed by Krishna, so all his contaminations are removed. He got purified.
He wanted Sarupya liberation. He wanted Sarup like form like the Lord. Right? So he got that also. We can say. All right. So,
Anybody killed on the Mahabharata also,
yeah.
because they were looking at the face of Krishna at the last moment.
Yeah. So at that point, all their material desires just go away and they just go back to Vaikuntha, right? Because Sarupya means they go back to Vaikuntha. So all
Yeah.
the desires just go away, vanish. Okay, anybody else want to read the 3 paragraphs? Otherwise, maybe you can continue if nobody wants to read.
I can continue. When the head of the king of Kashi was thrown through the city gate, people gathered and were astonished to see that wonderful thing. When they found out that there were earrings on it, they could understand that it's someone's head. They conjectured as to whose head it might be. Some thought it was Krishna's head, because Krishna was the enemy of Kashi Raj. And they calculated that the king of Kashi might have thrown Krishna's head into the city so that the people might take pleasure in the enemies having been killed. But they finally detected that the head was not Krishna's, but that of Kashiraj himself. When this was ascertained, the queens of the king of Kashi immediately approached and began to lament the death of their husband. Our dear Lord, they cried, upon your death we have become just like dead bodies. The king of Kashi had a son whose name was Sudakshina. After observing the ritualistic funeral ceremonies, he took a vow that since Krishna was the enemy of his father, he would kill Krishna and in this way liquidate his debt to his father. Therefore, accompanied by a learned priest qualified to help him, he began to worship Mahadev, Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, who is also known as Vishwanath, is the lord of the kingdom of Kashi. The temple of Lord Vishwanath is still existing in Varanasi, and many thousands of pilgrims still gather daily in that temple. By the worship of Sudakshina, Lord Shiva was very much pleased and he wanted to give a benediction to his devotees. Sudakshina's purpose was to kill Krishna and therefore he prayed for a specific power by which to kill him. Lord Shiva advised that Sudakshina, assisted by the Brahmanas, execute the ritualistic ceremony for killing one's enemy. This ceremony is also mentioned in some of the tantras. Lord Shiva informed Sudakshina that if such a black ritualistic ceremony were performed properly, then the evil spirit named Dakshinangani will appear and then carry out any order given to him. He would have to be employed, however, to kill someone other than a qualified Brahman. If all these conditions were met, then Dakshinangani, accompanied by Lord Shiva's ghostly companions, would fulfill the desire of Sudakshina to kill his enemy. So he wants to kill Sudakshina, the son of Kashiraj. He wants to kill Krishna and he performs some sacrifice for Lord Shiva. And he tells him, I don't know if he tells Shiva that I want to kill Krishna or this king, because why would Shiva give him a suggestion of how to kill Krishna? It says here Sudakshina's purpose was to kill Krishna and therefore he prayed for specific power by which to kill him. This is tantra, mantra, black magic or something to here Shivji is proposing so that an evil spirit comes and will follow the orders. But that person to be killed should not be a Brahman, because then it will have an opposite effect, and this spirit will come back to its owner and will kill the owner, and that's what happened with Prahlad Maharaj and Sandana Marga. They put a spell and had this ghost try to kill Prahlad, but because Prahlad is Vaishnav, he didn't kill Prahlad, but he came back and he killed Sandana Marga.
Just like in Kali, right? Kali is something they associate.
Yeah. Bharat, Jad Bharat.
Right. And also, yeah. So his head fell, right? This Kashi's king's head fell in the Kashi. And they thought it was Krishna, but it was, yeah. He doesn't say, Sudakshina doesn't say, I want to kill Krishna. His purpose was to kill Krishna, but Lord Shiva, maybe in the Bhagavatam, the actual maybe verses are there. Does he tell Krishna, Shiva, that he wants to kill Krishna? Maybe he doesn't say that.
Yeah, I don't think, Shiva would have stopped him.
Okay, so.
Okay. When Sudakshina was encouraged by Lord Shiva in that way, he was sure that he would be able to kill Krishna. With a determined vow of austerity, he began to execute the black art of chanting mantras, assisted by the priests. After this, out of the fire came a great demoniac form whose hair, beard, and moustache were exactly the color of hot copper. This form was very big and fierce. As the demon arose from the fire, cinders of fire emanated from the sockets of his eyes. The giant fiery demon appeared still more fierce due to the movements of his eyebrows. He exhibited long sharp teeth and sticking out his long tongue, licked his upper and lower lips. He was naked and he carried a big trident, blazing like fire. After appearing from the fire of sacrifice, he stood wielding the trident in his hand. Instigated by Sudakshina, the demon proceeded towards the capital city of Dwarka with many hundreds of ghostly companions, and it appeared that he was going to burn all outer space to ashes. The surface of the earth trembled because of his striking steps. When he entered the city of Dwarka, all the residents panicked just like animals in a forest fire. At that time, Krishna was playing chess in the royal assembly council hall. All the residents of Dwarka approached and addressed him, Dear Lord of the three worlds, a great fiery demon is ready to burn the whole city of Dwarka. Please save us. In this way, all the inhabitants of Dwarka appealed to Lord Krishna for protection from the fiery demon who had just appeared in Dwarka to devastate the whole city. Lord Krishna, who specifically protects his devotees, saw that the whole population of Dwarka was most perturbed by the presence of the great fiery demon. He immediately smiled and assured them, Don't worry, I shall give you all protection. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is all pervading. He is within everyone's heart and he is also without in the form of cosmic manifestation. He could understand that the fiery demon was a creation of Lord Shiva. In order to vanquish the demon, he took his Sudarshan Chakra and ordered him to take the necessary steps. The Sudarshan Chakra appeared with the effulgence of millions of suns, his heat being as powerful as the fire created at the end of the cosmic manifestation. By his effulgence, the Sudarshan Chakra illuminated the entire universe on the surface of the earth as well as in outer space. Then the Sudarshan Chakra began to freeze the fiery demon created by Lord Shiva. In this way, the fiery demon was checked by the Sudarshan Chakra of Lord Krishna, and being defeated in his attempt to devastate the city of Dwarka, he turned back. Having failed to set fire to Dwarka, the fiery demon went back to Varanasi, the kingdom of Kashiraj. As a result of his return, all the priests who had helped instruct the black art of mantras along with their employer Sudakshina were burnt to ashes by the glaring effulgence of the fiery demon. According to the methods of black art mantras instructed in the tantras, if the mantras fail to kill the enemy, then because it must kill someone, it kills the original creator. So Dakshina was the originator, and the priests assisted him. Therefore, all of them were burned to ashes. This is the way of the demons. The demons create something to kill God, but the same weapon the demon themselves are killed. Following just behind the fiery demons, the Sudarshan Chakra also entered Varanasi. This city had been very opulent and great for a very long time. Even now, the city of Varanasi is opulent and famous and is one of the important cities of India. There were then many big palaces, assembly houses, marketplaces, and gates with large and very important monuments by the palaces and gates. Lecturing platforms could be found at each and every crossroads. There were buildings that housed the treasury, elephants, horses, chariots, and grain, and places for distribution of food. The city of Varanasi had been filled with all these material opulences for a very long time, but because the king of Kashi and his son Sudakshina were against Lord Krishna, the Vishnu Chakra Sudarshan devastated the whole city by burning all these important places. This excursion was more ravaging than modern bombing. Sudarshan Chakra, having thus finished his duty, came back to his lord Sri Krishna at Dwarka. This narration of devastation of Varanasi by Krishna's disc weapon Sudarshan Chakra is transcendental and auspicious. Anyone who narrates or hears this story with faith and attention will be released from all reaction to sinful activities. This is the assurance of Shukdev Goswami, who narrated this story to Parikshit Maharaj. But why would Krishna devastate the whole city? I mean, there could be some innocent people in.
Yeah, so I was also thinking the same that even now the city. Okay.
Like here also, Japan, we put the nuclear bomb there, right? Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Yes, because some Japanese soldiers had attacked America.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't say here. So devastated the whole city by burning all these important places. It was more like destroying them. Okay. Vivida Gorilla. Okay, we can go to this time. So we can read till 8:35 and 40. Okay,
You
we can.
also have that book. Right?
So we can read that book. Okay, so let me mark this here. So where are are we in that book?
On page 90.